Imagine this for a second. What if someone could peek into your most private thoughts? Would that idea make you uneasy? Honestly, it should. Because here's the surprising part. This actually happens far more often than most people realize. That ability has a name. It's called clairvoyance. And at its core, clairvoyance is the power to see things that aren't physically in front of you. That might mean glimpses of the past, a clear picture of the present, or even visions of the future. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Clairvoyance isn't automatically good or bad. Like most abilities, it really depends on how it's used. On the positive side, clairvoyants have been known to help locate missing people, assist with solving crimes, or simply provide comfort and guidance to those in need. But, on the other side of the coin, stepping into the spiritual realm can expose someone to influences they aren't ready for. Because in that unseen world, there are discarnate entities, spirits that can be kind and helpful, or manipulative and harmful. Benevolent entities might offer guidance and support, but malevolent ones may try to twist and deceive for their own gain. And this is where the real danger lies, not in the ability itself, but in the person's mindset. If ego starts to take over, clairvoyance loses its purity. It becomes distorted, no longer a tool for clarity, but rather a reflection of selfish desires. Contrary to what you might have heard, clairvoyance isn't reserved for a chosen few or some mystical elite. It's not an extraordinary superpower that only the rarest people on Earth can achieve. Instead, it's something every single one of us has the potential to experience. How? By turning inward. Through consistent meditation, honest exploration of our inner world, and accepting our emotions without judgment, we begin to open portals into deeper clarity. Think of it less as a skill you're borrowing from somewhere else, and more like an innate faculty you're uncovering within yourself. Cultivating a calm, open, and receptive mind isn't a journey for the chosen few. It's available to anyone who's willing to embrace humility and let go of the shackles of ego. When that happens, a clearer vision of ourselves and the world around us becomes attainable. And that's a milestone any sincere seeker can reach. Of course, not everyone agrees with this. Some dismiss psychic phenomena altogether. They argue it's all superstition or pseudoscience. For centuries, the ability to see beyond the limits of the physical eye has been labeled as clairvoyance and pushed into the category of mystical or even delusional practices. But the truth is, what we call clairvoyance isn't about fantasy. It's about a heightened awareness that we've all brushed against in one way or another. Take dreams, for example. Every man, woman, and child experiences them. During dreams, something interesting happens. Our minds seem to connect with broader aspects of existence, weaving symbolic stories that break past the barriers of time and space. It's like while we sleep, we tap into a subtle, profound vision that everyday perception just can't grasp. Think about your own dreams. Have you ever stopped to wonder what they really mean? Dreams are like fragile threads spun by the mysteries of the subconscious. They open a door into deeper layers of the human psyche. Each dream functions like a magical lens, giving us fleeting glimpses into the unknown, where psychic vision blends seamlessly with symbolic narratives. When you step back, you start to see that every dream is a dive into an endless ocean of symbolism, where time and space dissolve. In this space, psychic vision works like a light, illuminating the hidden corners of our unconscious mind and helping us decode the messages that show up in those nightly stories. The Rosicrucians have their own perspective on this. they believe psychic consciousness is directly connected to sensory experiences, things like seeing, hearing, and feeling. But in this framework, those experiences are more than just reactions to the outside world. They're gateways into deeper understanding. They're signals pointing us toward broader levels of perception. It's important to recognize that this ability isn't rare. It's actually universal. What makes it seem rare is that most of us neglect it. Like any skill, if you don't use it, it fades. If you reject it or dismiss it, it goes dormant. But when you nurture it, when you consistently practice and give it space, it grows stronger. So, the real question is, how do we develop and enhance this kind of perception? The first step is to release the over-reliance on our physical eyes. We've been conditioned to believe that seeing with the eyes is the only real way of perceiving reality. And as long as we cling to that idea, we're holding up the biggest barrier to authentic psychic vision. Once we let go of that belief, we remove the resistance, mental and physical, that blocks us from exploring this deeper form of sight. From there, it's all about nurturing the ability. Meditation, visualization, breathing practices, and inner stillness all play a role in reactivating something that's already within us. Clairvoyance, at its essence, is the capacity to gather information without relying on conventional senses. In the world of parapsychology, it's seen as the ability to perceive objects or events across space and time. And here's the fascinating part. This isn't some foreign talent that a select few are given. It's intrinsic to every human being. As people evolve spiritually, this ability naturally unfolds, allowing them to explore questions like what happens before birth, what happens after death, and what lies in the unseen dimensions of existence. There are essentially two main categories of clairvoyance: voluntary and involuntary. Voluntary clairvoyance, sometimes referred to as positive clairvoyance, is when a person intentionally and consciously chooses to access these hidden perceptions. With voluntary clairvoyance, someone might visualize events from the past, gain insights into the present, or even glimpse possibilities for the future. They might be able to see people, places, or objects that are far away, beyond the reach of normal sight. And the key here is practice. Techniques like meditation, visualization, and specific exercises can help develop this intentional ability. Over time, with dedication, someone practicing voluntary clairvoyance can actually learn to control it, using it not only for spiritual insight but also for practical purposes, like understanding themselves better and making wiser choices in life. The second category is involuntary clairvoyance, which some also call passive clairvoyance. Unlike the voluntary kind, this doesn't happen because someone set out to trigger it. It just happens. And while it might sound like a cool surprise, the reality is often far more complicated. Involuntary clairvoyance can bring sudden images, sensations, or intuitions that arrive without warning. The person receiving them isn't prepared, and they may not even want them. This can actually be a pretty unsettling experience. Imagine suddenly seeing visions or feeling impressions you can't explain. If you don't understand what's happening, it can cause stress, anxiety, or even mental health struggles. For some people, it becomes overwhelming, and while involuntary clairvoyance can stem from things like natural psychic sensitivity, intense spiritual experiences, or even trauma, it often leaves the individual feeling out of control. Now, let's go deeper into where these experiences come from. Many traditions talk about something known as the serpentine force, or kundalini. This is described as a powerful energy coiled at the base of the spine. Think of it as the body's life force, deeply tied to creativity, intuition, and spirituality. When this energy awakens, it rises up the spine, activating what are known as chakras, energy centers that run along the spinal cord. The awakening of Kundalini is said to bring expanded consciousness, and one of the effects of that awakening is clairvoyance. As this energy moves upward, it opens the person's awareness to dimensions of reality they never perceived before. This is where the idea of the third eye comes in, the pineal gland, located in the center of the brain. For centuries, this has been described as a center of intuition and extrasensory perception. When the third eye opens, the individual sees the world in a fuller, more connected way. The link between Kundalini and the third eye is powerful. When Kundalini energy rises, it often sparks the opening of the third eye, which then expands perception into higher dimensions. People who experience this describe it as life-changing, as if the filters that normally limit human perception suddenly fall away. But here's the thing. Clairvoyants usually don't just wake up one day fully formed. Most undergo a long process of development, practicing and refining their abilities so they can perceive beyond the conventional senses with stability and control. That's what separates them from mediums, who often find that their abilities appear suddenly and intensely. Mediums might channel information in specific circumstances without going through years of training. So, how do you tell the difference between a medium and a clairvoyant? It can be tricky because on the surface, the two might look similar. But there are some important distinctions. The main difference lies in the source of information. A medium acts as a channel, receiving communication directly from spiritual entities. A clairvoyant, on the other hand, draws information from within their own mind, their psyche, or through perception of the physical and energetic world. Intention is another key difference. A medium is deliberately connecting with the spiritual world. Their role is to serve as a bridge between the living and the spirit realm. A clairvoyant's intention is different. They use their ability to gain knowledge, insight, or guidance, often to help themselves or others better navigate the world. But whether we're talking about clairvoyants or mediums, one important question remains. How do you protect yourself from unwanted spiritual influences? This is where the teachings of Max Heindel, the founder of the Rosicrucian Fellowship, become really useful. Heindel suggested several methods to guard against the dangers of obsession, those moments when negative entities might try to take hold. First, he emphasized the power of the mind. Keeping your thoughts pure, uplifting, and positive makes a huge difference. Negative, dark thoughts open the door to harmful influences, while positive thoughts raise your vibration and protect you. Second, he recommended prayer and meditation, not in a rigid or forced way, but as genuine practices that strengthen your connection to higher spiritual forces. And then there's the most powerful tool of all, love. Radiating love and compassion toward all beings, even the ones that seem like enemies, even the spirits that might try to cause harm, creates a kind of shield. Love is like a frequency that negative entities simply can't penetrate. Another Rosicrucian teaching focuses on the protective aura. This is described as an energy field that surrounds the physical body. When the aura is strong and healthy, it acts like a natural shield, repelling the influence of obsessing spirits. To develop this protective aura, people are encouraged to practice breathing techniques, relaxation, and visualization. Imagine a barrier of light surrounding you, keeping negativity at bay and maintaining harmony in both body and mind. So, if you're wondering whether developing clairvoyance requires faith or belief, according to these teachings, it doesn't. It's less about religion and more about liberation of the mind. The goal is to break free from the false idea that only the physical eyes can reveal the truth of our world. And when you think about it, that's a pretty empowering message. It means anyone, regardless of background, culture, or belief, can explore and develop this innate potential. The challenge isn't whether the ability exists, but whether you're willing to do the inner work to bring it forward. And if all of this resonates with you, there's something simple you can do right now. Drop a comment below saying, "It makes sense to me." That way, I'll know you're connecting with these ideas. And while you're at it, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of the future teachings we'll be diving into. So, let's take a step back and really look at what clairvoyance is teaching us. At its heart, this ability isn't about flashy displays or paranormal theatrics. It's about developing a deeper vision of reality. It's about understanding that what we call sight is not limited to the physical eyes. Think of it like learning to play an instrument. Anyone can pick up a guitar, but if you never practice, you won't play well. Clairvoyance works in a similar way. If you ignore it, if you never exercise it, it lies dormant. But if you choose to nurture it through meditation, visualization, breathwork, dream reflection, it starts to come alive. Over time, it becomes sharper, clearer, and far more useful. This practice isn't only about seeing what others can't. It's also about transforming yourself. By calming the mind, connecting to inner stillness, and loosening the grip of ego, you start to see your life differently. Choices become clearer. Relationships feel easier to navigate. Challenges that once felt impossible now look like lessons that you're capable of handling. In that sense, clairvoyance becomes less of a superpower and more of a natural extension of self-awareness. And here's another point many people overlook. Psychic perception often shows up in very ordinary ways. It's not always a booming vision of the future. Sometimes it's a subtle gut feeling that saves you from a bad decision. Sometimes it's a dream that nudges you toward an opportunity you hadn't considered. Sometimes it's a sudden clarity about a problem you've been stuck on for months. These small moments are just as important as the dramatic ones. The real challenge is trust. Trust in what you see, feel, or sense, even when it doesn't make logical sense in the moment. That doesn't mean abandoning reason. It means allowing intuition and perception to play a role alongside logic, not beneath it. The more you practice, the more you learn when to listen and when to let go. Of course, it's worth repeating, none of this makes you immune to risks. Whenever you're opening yourself to expanded states of awareness, you're also opening doors. Some of what enters will be enlightening, uplifting, and helpful. Other times, it may be confusing or even harmful. That's why grounding practices, like meditation, prayer, breathwork, and strengthening your aura, are so essential. They keep you balanced, centered, and protected. And remember, clairvoyance is not about trying to escape reality. It's not about running away from life's struggles or hiding in visions of the future. In fact, it's the opposite. It's about engaging with reality more fully, seeing it with a clarity that cuts past illusion, recognizing patterns that might otherwise remain hidden, and ultimately, using that clarity to make wiser, more compassionate choices. For some, This path will mean developing voluntary clairvoyance, actively practicing techniques that allow them to see beyond ordinary limits. For others, it may mean learning to handle involuntary experiences without fear or anxiety. For everyone, though, the underlying journey is the same. It's the journey of self-discovery. When we strip away the mystique, clairvoyance simply reminds us that human beings are capable of far more than we usually admit. We are not confined to the five senses. We are not prisoners of the physical world. We are spiritual beings with layers of awareness waiting to be unlocked. So the invitation is simple. Start with yourself. Pay attention to your dreams. Meditate daily, even if only for a few minutes. Practice stillness, cultivate love, and notice what shifts inside you. Over time, those subtle moments add up. The vision becomes clearer. The path opens wider. And perhaps the greatest gift of clairvoyance is not in seeing the future or uncovering secrets of the past, but in finally seeing yourself as you truly are, beyond ego, beyond fear, beyond limitation. That kind of vision can change everything. So let me leave you with this thought. Clairvoyance isn't something outside of you that you have to chase down. It's already within you, waiting. The question is, are you willing to listen, to practice, and to grow into it? If this message resonated with you, let me know in the comments by simply writing. It makes sense to me. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications because we're just scratching the surface. There's so much more to explore on this journey into higher perception, deeper awareness, and the incredible power of the human spirit. Together, let's keep uncovering what's possible, because the truth is, clear vision isn't reserved for the chosen few. It belongs to all of us.